here. You see a bit more audible with the low revs, just doing 50k there. Acceleration off, then in fourth, nothing. Here we are, we've got the VL up on the old hydraulic air over oil hoist. Got some pretty rigorous safety precautions here, safety equipment. But we've just pulled the oil out of the old small box, the RB25DET 5-speed that we're taking out. And I'm only taking it out because fifth gear started making a wee bit of noise, like bearing noise or lathe shaft bearing noise perhaps. So we're taking it out to replace it with that bit of sexiness there, that RB25 R34 big box. And here's the bung come out of the 20DET box. Wee bit of stuff there. Yep. Still a good box, but if it's doing bearings in 30,000 Ks, which is all that gearbox has been in for since it's been rebuilt, I don't think it's worth mucking around. We've got too much torque coming out of the RB30, so we'll bite the bullet and chuck that one in. Here we go. Alright, so just a quick video today. We're pulling out the RB25DET gearbox that I've had in this car for about 6 months, not much driving at all, maybe 18,000 kilometers. I've got it ready to pull out now because it started to make a wee bit of noise, strange noise actually. I thought it was bearing noise. And I'm pretty sure it still is, but upon pulling the thing apart, I noticed a little crack down there, and I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that should be flush. I could be wrong, it could just be part of the casting. But nevertheless, this gearbox is coming out, and I'm going to replace it with this thing here, which is a R34 RB25DET big box, so just a more modern version of the MX-7 which the VL turbos came out with. So this particular car here is just well, it's not just it's my baby. It's basically a replica VL turbo RB30ET, and it's putting out about the same horsepower as that tractor there, 385 odd horsepower, and a heap of torque. And I think it's the torque that has had that 20DET gearbox not last super long, even though I bought it as a reconditioned unit. I don't think it likes the torque, and I love the torque, and I love the fifth gear, putting a smile on your dial, hammer down feeling, especially with the 411 gear in the diff. But yeah, just a few things here that I'll point out. One of them was this particular gearbox, the R34, come out with a pull type clutch. So we've got a new, so that'll all be taken off. And we've got a new front cover in here, as well as our, I'll come to that bit a bit later. Just going to take that front cover off and put this new Nissan push type clutch, the front cover on, and then the fork out of this gearbox will go in its place, so we'll keep that fork. And new slave cylinder to go on the side. What else? So yeah, these things come out with an electronic drive shaft, electronic speedo sensor, and that's what this little thing down here is. I got made by Wags, Wellington based company, transmission company, to convert to mechanical drive. So that'll just simply go on to the old speedo drive there. So drive shaft is out, and that was the other point. And this is part of why I wanted to do this video, because I had it that I needed to, obviously the yoke needed to be replaced, and I thought that was going to be a big job. Turns out you can do that yourself. So what I've done here is I've knocked out the little caps, or the roller bearings, to take this old yoke off that suits the small gearbox. And under here is those caps with the wee rollers inside them, and you've got to be careful that they don't come out. See the wee roller bearings inside there, and these are the wee snap rings that go on the inside of the yoke on each side to hold the yoke in place. So now all I've got to do is pull out the new yoke. There she is, just off Holden parts online, the 30 spline to suit MX7. Goes in the rear end there. There's a brand new box full of oil, so I don't want to pull that cap off while it's up in the air like that. But basically, this here yoke will just go back on that same UJ. That UJ is in good condition. And tap these caps on, get it lined up, put our little snap rings on, and we, fingers crossed, are good to go. I've been watching Mr. Project, and he did, I believe, the same thing. Cheers, Mr. Project, for your inspiration, because it was your video that had me try this. And if it works, which I'm confident it will with my measurements, it saved me probably $1,000. It was going to cost me between $800 and $1,000 to get this done by a proper drivetrain outfit, especially by the time I factored in transport. Alright, that was pretty straightforward. So I got the new push front clutch cover on, and taken off the old pull one. It was pretty straightforward, and just used the gasket because it's a new gearbox. If it was second hand, I'd recommend getting another gasket for that front cover, but just torqued it up, and that was really, really simple. Next, we're going to chuck the new yoke on our drive shaft. So all I've done here is located the caps over the UJ and just tapped them gently with my hammer, and now it's a real crucial point here, just to tap them in just far enough so that you can locate the little journal, or the little slot for the snap rings to go in, the wee locators. So you don't want to overdo it, otherwise you're going to muck around trying to get the thing back out again, the cap. So what I'll do here is just use a hammer on one side for the dead weight, and then just gently tap the other side to get it lined up. So there's this side lined up, and here's our little snap ring. Let's just make sure that does fit in there. Actually, not quite. Oh, actually, no, it does. Let's try it. I have to give that a wee tap. Sweet, so that's our snap ring in. Slide it around so you can see it there. It's only not as big as what you think. Just over half the circumference. Okay, that was crazy. Just went to put this last V-snap ring in. Just get a good shot of it there for you so you can see how easy it is. And was just giving it the last little tap with the punch, and it went ping and shot way up, hit the roof, bounced off that landing and landed right in front of me. That could have gone so differently. Let's get this thing done. You gotta be real careful too not to damage the surface of that yoke. So I'm trying to keep that little bit of toilet paper on there. That's what it looks like, isn't it? That's what it came with. So we don't damage that surface. Otherwise we'll have a leaky gearbox. No one likes a leaky box. Well, actually, let's just not go there. Sweet, so that's our new yoke on the end for our big box. Really pay close attention, well I did anyway, to make sure that those lock rings or those snap rings are located all the way around, and just did so with a hammer and a punch. So just working my way around to make sure there's no movement whatsoever, and then just went around checking all the way around those clips. So they're all nice and well seated. Dust caps are on. Sweet as, look at that. So upon putting the release bearing in and the new fork off the gearbox, find that we've got to move the slave location. So it just means tapping out a couple of holes for our slave cylinder to go on the front instead of being at the back. So we'll just drill them out and tab ourselves some thread and we'll be good to go. Here we go, it's been a huge afternoon. We last left off with drilling and tapping. There's our light. Our holes for our new slave, which there they go. Drilled and tapped them in. Fitted the slave. Got the clutch fork in. And the gearbox in. That was a whole lot of fun getting that in. But look at it. I'm still just sitting that up. Look at this, you can tell we're farmers. Just using what we got. That gearbox is just sitting there up on that, what I called my safety bar. And I was sitting here thinking I was going to have to, I've just noticed that gearbox hole over there's somehow been eaten out, but must have been done before I got it. Looks nice, doesn't it? I thought I was going to have to make a new cross member, but turns out we can just use the back two bolts. The back two bolt holes with the RB25DET gearbox. It was the front two holes you can see there, and now I'm able just to slide that back, the original cross member, and it works. So I've got those spaces in just to suit my application for the Driveshaft to go through its those safety hoops that I had to do for certification, and we'll soon see if it's suitable for the big box, and if not, the spaces will just come out. But she's in there. A few more things to put back together. Rest of the bell housing bolts. Still got a bit of our speedo drive in. Where's our bung for that? Up in there somewhere. Where is that thing? We had a bung in there. There it is, that black bung. So put that in there. Get that other side of the cross member bolted up. Rest of these bell housing bolts on. Get that exhaust done back up. Put the starter motor on, and then I can start working on that drive shaft, which it should be just a Bob's your uncle job, hopefully. Oh, it's getting close now. So we are ready to chuck some oil in it. I haven't put the shifter in. I'm going to fill it through the shifter hole. The speedo drive, because the RB25DET went around the cross member into the more tail end of the gearbox. The 25 gearbox, the big gearbox, is a bit closer to the front where the speedo drive is. So I just had to try and make as little bends as possible in that speedo drive, so I don't want it grabbing, and that's the best I've got at the moment. Excuse my dog's just got off her chain, or she's dragged her chain with her. Sky. Yeah, you know, You're not meant to be in here. So, oh yep, slave's all on, plumbed up. I ran it through and bled it with gravity, but I probably need to do another bleed once I get it down and work the pedal. But we're all torqued up, drive shafts in, drive shaft hoops are on. I just tightened up my handbrake because it was a wee bit loose. Haven't done my breather yet, but I will put that on. I think I need a bigger hose, that one's quite small. But ready to put some oil in this gearbox and see if she drives. How many women to be 39.5 weeks pregnant at helping you bleed the clutch on a new transmission? Not many. Sweet, so clutch is all good as gold, we're moving. Just bent the shifter that came with the gearbox. It's an R34 Skyline gearbox, and I presume the shifter's for an R34 Skyline, so I've just had to heat it up and bend it to get it as close to sort of a good position as possible. Clutch is feeling good, so let's reverse, neutral, forward. That's not too bad. Could have bent it a bit better, but no, that's all good, I reckon. Let's go for a drive. Does our speedo work? Actually, let's just test that now. This is fun and exciting and scary. Alright, what do we got here? Come on, speedo. Give us a movement. We got speedo movement. Holy cow. Let's check for leaks. Adjusted the handbrake, that feels way better. There's my speedo cable. All clear, no nasty sounds. Time for a drive. So she drove really well. She went through all the gears nicely. I was bloody nervous driving it, to be fair. But no, it went beautifully, and I've never driven a brand new gearbox before. It actually felt a little bit notchy, to be fair. Maybe that's something that'll wear in. But yeah, what I've done when I got home was I noticed that the shifter was still a wee bit far forward, so I took it out and gave it another heat up and bend back, and in the process of doing so, actually broke the wee retaining clip that holds the boot, these things here in place. So I've ordered a new one of those from Rare Spears, $85 in the end for that bit of plastic. They certainly know how to charge, but yet we keep lining up and will continue to do so because they do provide a fantastic service, and we need their stuff. This was one I'd ordered previously a few years ago, and when it arrived I noticed the colour difference. It was like a grey and I don't really dig it, so I've been using the old one, but yeah, she's definitely seen better days. But no, all in all, really happy. Speedo was within a couple of K at 100k. He's actually dropped the RPMs, about 300 RPM, which is pretty sweet in fifth gear. So down to about 2,650, which is pretty cool, running the 411 diff. What else? No, it just went really, really well. I'm really happy with how that all went. I've really enjoyed this part of the build, but really the car overall, I've just enjoyed there's not many bolts that I haven't turned on this thing. That was its third gearbox there that I've put in it. It was originally auto when I bought it, 2-litre automatic. So yeah, third gearbox should be the last. If you want to know anything more about this build or this gearbox conversion, just let me know in the comments. If you want to know anything in particular about the car, do let me know. And And look, the reason I make these videos and share this stuff is because that's how I learnt when I first got this car. You know, my first car was a VL Commodore, and my second was, and I did my first engine transplant with the help of a local legend, Andrew Pickles, who was or still is the owner of the Duntrine Garage, and his son Cody and I used to muck around with cars, and so my first car I bought, my second car was a 3-litre version of the VL. I bought it with the pure intention of swapping the motor out, and I said to my mate Cody that he can have the car, what's left, if he can give me a hand to do the engine swap. So at 15 we done the engine swap on my first VL, putting my second VL's engine in it, and that really changed the game, going from the RB20 to the RB30. And I'll tell you what, if I knew now what I knew back then, things would be a lot different. But it was a fantastic first car, and I'd say I didn't know much about the VLs back then. I just put a big stereo in it and a big exhaust and a big silly wing on the back, and that was it, and just thrashed it. But this thing here is definitely a bit more sentimental. It's a bit more valuable as well, and yeah, really loving this journey. We're also going to put a V8 in this, my partner's XF. It's in her will that it's not to be lowered by me or the children if she dies. So yeah, I'm working on it, trying to get it a couple of inches lower. But we're going to put a V8 in that at some point. We've got a baby on the way, so it won't be anytime soon. And also been really enjoying this thing here. You can't quite see it, but it's my my awesome GU. I absolutely love this truck. That oil leak's not actually from the GU, it's from this dirty Prado, which is our daily. So don't go thinking she's got an oil leak. She certainly doesn't, this darling. But yeah, manual swapped, put the manual in this one. TD42, it's a great truck. Big lift, EFS suspension, it's got superior engineering. Radius arms and drop boxes and yada yada. It's been a really cool truck as well. I had this one for a few years now. But yeah, if you want to know anything about any of our vehicles, let me know. And yeah,